Everyone for joining us. This should have been our fourth, but we canceled one, so technically our third quarterly meeting of the Mad River Steering Committee. Um, Very exciting today because we finally have some water sampling results. It's just the beginning, so there's still lots of interpretation and further sampling to be done. But at this point, we'll get the meeting started, and I'll turn it over to our capable consultants at Resilient Land and Water, David and Victoria.
Thanks, Christine. Okay. Here's the agenda for today. We'll kind of go through a call to order / roll call, go through the sampling results so far, talk about the existing conditions development, look at a watershed map, and then we'll end with some action items and adjournment. Should be a pretty quick meeting, plenty of time for open discussion. And I think what we'll do is probably, I think at this point in time, we can take questions as they pop up. So don't wait till the end. If you have a question, raise your hand or just unmute yourself and ask the question. Christine, did you want to go around and have everybody introduce themselves because it has been a couple months, or should we just kind of let the recording take care of attendance?
Sure. If we said it's going to be a short meeting, let's take some extra time and reintroduce ourselves so we all know each other. I think that'd be great.
Okay, and we can just go in order of the table here, and then when we get to the end of the table, whoever else is in the room, let us know. So Sam Dow from Deep.
Morning, everyone. I'm Sam Dow with CT Deep. I'm with the Section 319 grant program.
Okay, Aaron Boudris. I don't believe Aaron is here, right?
Yeah, he's missing out today, unfortunately.
Okay. Tom from NVCOG.
Hello, everybody. My name's Tom Doherty. I'm from NVCOG and I'm an environmental planner, and I focus a lot on stormwater, so kind of roped into here too.
Great. Ray, are you there from Bristol?
Yep. Ray Rogozinski, Director of Public Works, City of Bristol. Here is Representative of Bristol.
Great. Roy, are you there from Waterbury? I didn't see him yet. How about Mark? Oh,
Yeah, this is Roy from Waterbury. I'm here.
excellent. Thanks, Roy. Mark from Wolcott. Thought I saw Mark.
This is Mark Sussman. I don't know if I was waiting for Mark Positano to answer. He might not be on.
You're good though. Thanks, Mark Sussman. Thanks for being
so,
here.
Yeah, I'm president of Hitchcock Lake Association and also a member of the board of the Connecticut Federation of Lakes.
Great. Thanks for being here. Chris Parsons, I think I saw you earlier.
Hi, yes, I'm here. Chris Parsons from the Wolcott Land Conservation Trust.
Great. Kevin Zach.
Don't think he joined us
No.
today.
Okay. Nicole from Save the Sound, are you with us today? No. Chris Sullivan, I think I saw you joined at one point.
Yep. Thanks, David. Chris Sullivan, Executive Director of the Southwest Conservation District.
Great. And then do we have folks from HVA? Mike, are you on the call?
So Mike Jastrzemski actually is no longer with HVA, but I'm here, Jillian Gunderson, Ecological Restoration Manager.
Great. Thank you. I should have known that. My bad on that. Mike from Cedar Lake.
Yes, I'm here.
Great. And then I don't know the student from UConn, Brenny Alcantara.
Hello, yeah, my name is Bernie Alcantara, student at UConn, and then also commissioner for the city of Waterbury.
Okay. All right. Anybody else who is not on the screen would like to introduce themselves?
For the record.
Hi, this is Lucas Budkowski with the city of Bristol.
Mark Positano, Town of Wolcott.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And Desiree Blanchard, I am the comms associate for NVCOG, comms coordinator for NVCOG.
Great. Okay. Hearing no one else, we'll continue with the update. Victoria, did you want to go through sampling? If you need to take a break, let me know. I can jump in.
Yeah, no, I can kick it off. Feel free to jump in if I miss something. So we've started sampling. So we've gotten through two rounds. So the first one was in end of March, and then the second one was in early April. So those were each just for the stream indicator bacteria. So we haven't looked at the lakes yet, but we went to the 9 stream locations, and those are going to be processed for, of course, like I said, the stream indicator bacteria here. So coming up in just about a week now, we'll have the third round, which is going to be the lake round in addition to the stream indicator bacteria. So we'll be looking at all of the 9 stream locations as well as the 5 outlet locations. So far, pretty good. We were able to work through on the March adventure, work through some of the access and issues, and I really don't want to say issues because there were very few, which was a relief because I was a little stressed. But we were able to find some good locations and really stick with our initial proposed sites. I really think there was little to no deviation. Maybe it might have been upstream or downstream of a bridge or something like that. But thankfully, we were really able to access all of the target locations that we wanted to. So just as a quick reminder here, this is a really big table. Don't go crazy trying to look at every single row. Really what this is kind of a quick sampling approach reminder. David has called it a pocket guide, just so we have an idea of the kind of the flow over the next few months as we're sampling. So we've got the bees, which are the March and the April. So those are just those bacteria sampling. And then of course, later in April, next week, we'll have the bacteria and the nutrient samplings, like I said, at those 9 stream and then those 5 lake outlet locations. And then, of course, the lake out locations are not going to be sampled every time. So just a quick update and a quick reminder of, we're just starting, so there's plenty more to go. And this is kind of what it'll look like over the next few months. We're really working on a schedule that's almost every 2 weeks. We've had some slight modifications on the proposed dates, just working with, Harbor Watch, who is our testing facility, the testing lab. So we're pretty much within an every 2 week flow here, kind of a midweek. So looking forward to quite a few more sampling sessions over the year. So we did get our first 2 rounds of results. So again, just for the bacteria. So for these 9 sites, kind of working our way in the northern parts of the watershed at proposed site 1, and then down to the lowest, which would be MR9, proposed site 9. That's the Mad River at Mill Street. So just to give folks an idea, so we have ranges. So I'll take a look at total coliform. So we have a range of numbers. I believe 290 is the lowest, up to just over 1100 at Tannery Brook, with 290 actually being some of the lowest total coliform number down at the Mad River behind Brass Mill. If we're talking about E. coli, we had some lower numbers in the northern parts of the watershed, in the Lily Brook area, and then a little bit higher going more south in the watershed. So again, by Brass Mill, Mill Street, those numbers are a little bit higher. But some of the highest E. coli numbers actually came out of Old Tannery Brook. And you could see that would be a TB5 right there in the middle of that table. Some of the highest E. coli numbers came out of Tannery Brook. So something that was a little surprising to us. So something we're gonna keep our eye on going forward over the sampling season, of course. And then let's see, there's a lot of numbers. I think Christine just dropped it into the chat that we'll share this so you kind of have these numbers to take a look at. There's not much that we can infer yet. As we're going to get later into the season, we expect to see some increases in some of these numbers just as, temperatures are changing and whatnot. So we're not going to draw any sort of crazy conclusion just from these 2 samples, but we just wanted to show folks that we've got some numbers. We'll be, analyzing those as we get a little bit farther into the season. But like I said, the Tannery Brook was a little bit of a surprise. So although I guess promising to see that numbers aren't too crazy in some of the areas that we thought they would be higher. For example, some of the more industrial areas in the Waterbury area of the Mad River. So I know we did compare a little bit to the state just to try to see how our numbers are jiving with the numbers from the TMDLs. So again, we only have 2 rounds of sampling. So, it's not comparable. These numbers that you see here on this table are from the TMDL. So, 2010, right? So this is a 16-year difference here. But just trying to, cover all of our bases and see how our current testing results and our sampling results are comparing. So just to give folks an idea, and I think David actually had it on the previous slide, our units of measurement for these samples are MPN, while the TMDL are CFU. So slightly different units of measurement, but relatively comparable. So just in case that's a question. So let's see. So just to take a look, the bigger table that you see that is from March to September. This location is Lily Brook at Todd Road and Frisbee Road, which is just about where we're sampling for our LB1 location. So you could see here for March and April, our LB1 are showing E. coli results 14.8 and 5.2, while some of the samples from 2010, have a much higher range from 73 up to 12,000. So these are some greater numbers that we're seeing for these E. coli results from the TMDL, not from our 2 sampling events. But again, this is earlier in the season, so we might see these numbers jump. I don't know what to expect. They may not jump. There could have been some issues in 2010 that have since been resolved, so we're not going to see those higher numbers reflected in our sampling results. But again, we're just trying to get an idea of how we're comparing to the TMDL. And then one thing I did want to point out, just for reference, so the state TMDL, some of the numeric criteria for a Class A and B, so the waters throughout the Mad River are both Class A and Class B for recreation. Some of those criteria, those threshold numbers range from, you could see in the orange box, 126 is the geometric mean, so kind of that over time number. And then a single sampling event would be 235 if it's a designated swim area, or 410 if it's a non-designated swim area. So if we were to look at those numbers at the moment, right now, LB1 is doing okay. It's well below those numeric criteria, those thresholds for the state TMDL. Again, numbers might change. We saw some of those higher numbers in 2010. So not going to make any sort of predictions. We don't know what we'll find, but just to give you an idea of where those currently stand. Let's see, I think we compare 1 or 2 other sites, right?
Right. Not this one because we're not sampling here yet, but I thought we'd put it up here on the screen at least.
Right. Yeah. So this is the Hitchcock Lake. So yeah, we'll take a look at, we'll do a little bit of comparison after we've got some samples from the Hitchcock Lake area. But our nearest locations would be the C and the D. And then we've also got the Mad River, so downstream of East Main Street, as well as the outlet near Washington Street. So those would be closest to our MR7 and our MR9. So MR9 is by Mill Street, and then MR7 is from a bridge crossing, oh gosh, is it Wolcott Avenue? So some of the lowest numbers, so the Mad River downstream of East Main Street, the lowest E. coli was 74, while some of the highest numbers from a single sample was 4,400, so quite a range there. And then for the other TMDL location near Washington Street, we've got 230 as the lowest, 24,000 as the highest. So again, quite a range. We're looking at much lower numbers at the moment. So the MR7 location, which is from the bridge over, like I said, I believe it's Wolcott. We've got 108 and 68, and then MR9, which is our lowest sampling site, we've got 21.8 and 39.3. So these are much lower than what might be reflected in the TMDL. But again, just to show folks that we're trying to, compare what we're seeing now to what was seen years ago.
We expect some kind of so the sampling ranges in the TMDL usually start in May or June, and of course we're showing you numbers from March and April, so that could be part of the difference, and we'll see as we move forward.
Right. So the upcoming sample is next week, I believe Monday, Tuesday, 27th and 28th. Like I said, we're working on the every 2 weeks. We did bump it to the beginning of next week. It should have been this week, just I think because of April vacations and folks were away this week with schools and whatnot. So, working with our sampling, closely with our sampling labs, or our testing labs, I should say, to make sure that, they're available to process. So we'll be taking a look at all 9 of those locations as well as the 5 outlets. So this will occur over 2 days. We'll just do our 9 stream locations on day 1 on the 27th, and then we'll look at our 5 lake outlet locations on the 28th. And then those lake outlet locations will include bacteria and nutrients, and then some of the stream locations will include bacteria and nutrients, but they will all include bacteria, even if they don't all have nutrients. So next week will be a busy week, and we'll start to see some of the lake outlet numbers. So we'll have some of those to report back the next time we meet in a couple months, which is exciting. I'm kind of excited to see how the numbers start to shift and change with the seasonal progression. So that is occurring, and then we've got the chart here just as a reminder, kind of what our sampling is going to look like. So we'll be working on this until October. So quite a few more samples to go. And I think, we may share some of the numbers or, reach out in the interim between meetings if kind of anything is awry, or, if we feel that, we've got to work with you all on something that we're seeing from sampling. I don't anticipate anything like that, but, we've had that discussion internally that if the 3 months is too far in between the meetings, maybe we'll get some interim info out to you all. So as of right now, that's what we've got for stream sampling, but definitely expect quite a bit more the next time we meet.
Anybody has any questions? I saw a couple in the chat from Christine, some clarifications, but this is a good time to, actually, I should have gone forward one.
That's
this
okay.
is what you just said.
Yep. Right.
Questions,
So yeah.
comments?
Hi, Mark Presidento, Town of Woken. I may be a day late and a dollar short, but one of the issues that has occurred in Woken is that the Public Works has decided not to use the pre application of liquids on the roads for winter storms, and decided to use as much salt as they possibly can. Is there any way we could add in some testing for the sodium chloride content at these locations? I think you can just do it a meter, can't you?
Victoria, we didn't even go over the results from the YSI probe just because we thought bacteria would sort of eclipse the discussion, but we've got some of the parameters in the YSI are kind of a surrogate for that, I believe. So we may be able to, Mark, we may be able to use some of those numbers too. So we've got PHDO, TDS, conductivity. Those are all coming out of the handheld probe. So that can help us to answer your question.
Good.
I guess what was the question was, I guess, what did you say, Mark? That Wolcott's putting increased salt down?
Their new policy is to put as much salt as they possibly can.
You say policy. We use the term policy sometimes. I always tell my staff it's not a policy unless it's written down. Is that literally a documented policy?
I don't think so.
Huh?
I don't think so.
We'll call it a practice then.
Just for some clarification, Mark, you said that they're not conditioning the roads. That's a different chemical, right, than sodium chloride?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a
There's
calcium
proprietary chemicals they
product,
use.
right?
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Well, the thing is, when you apply this stuff, you don't have to use as much salt. And there's also a procedure for the distribution of the salt from the machines themselves. They have to identify the amount, and they rate what the application rate is. There's that whole New Hampshire came up with a whole new program for how to properly put salt on, so you minimize the amount that goes on the roads. But for some reason, they stopped doing it. They stopped that practice and just put raw salt down. And I'm just concerned because 90% of more than that is on public wells, private wells. So I was just wondering if the salt contamination was getting into the rivers.
Why? Has there been issues with private wells in Wolcott?
Not that I know of, and no one has really tested for it. But I thought if we're sampling, we could, use a meter and get some of the information, like David said, that might give us an indication if we might want to change our application procedure.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the March, especially that if sample event was as snow was melting, so that might be a good one to look at. We'll take a look at the data we have. I'm sorry, I cut someone off.
Yeah, no worries, David. It's Chris from Southwest Conservation District. I think there is a ratio that you can get from conductivity to sodium chloride in the water. So your conductivity readings could help with that. But I also had a question about the data and seeing the comparisons with E. coli and the state standards. I was just curious for the inclusion of the Entro results, as I know that's a saltwater standard for the state and none of this is saltwater.
Right, that's a good point. And this is discussion point we had with Harbor Watch, who is not only the laboratory that we're using for this, but I think as some of you might remember from our meeting a year ago, we have them involved kind of as a formal sub-consultant. They were in our proposal to NVCOG, so we can rely on them for some interpretive value as well. Yes, it's not typically used for fresh water. We wanted to include it because we thought that as we look at the numbers over time, it may help us, especially with the outlets from the areas used for swimming. But that's correct, Mark. It's Chris, sorry, it's typically used for salt water, and we debated whether we include it or not, but we thought it might add some value. We'll see as we step through the sampling.
Okay, yeah, just curious. I know, like, budgetarily, if it's extra samples and it's not, it's a separate test and media and everything on the lab end. So just curious about that one.
Yeah, we had included it in the cost in the proposal to NVCOG, so at least it's not a surprise cost. But yeah, it's something that it may not be completely illuminating as we get towards the end of sampling.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, well, maybe I'll use that as a springboard into the next couple slides. We only have a couple and we'll be done pretty quickly. So in the meantime, we're working on, while sampling has finally begun, we're working on the existing conditions report and trying to really step through our watershed reconnaissance and to be respectful of the fact that not all reconnaissance work needs to happen at the same time as sampling. So we have made some extra visits out there to kind of look around and dive into some areas. These are 3 photographs that I took at the end of March, and what I like about the end of March is that without leaves you can see things, which is great because, as you all know, sometime in July or August, you go out, you take a picture of a stream, you come back, you download it, you open it up on your computer, and it's a picture of a leaf. So we can see a lot right now, which is helpful. The photo on the upper right is direct runoff from Route 69 into a tributary stream, and which is interesting because if stormwater is not entering an MS4 regulated pipe, then it's kind of more in our wheelhouse, right? We can talk about it more in this plan than we could if it went into a system that was regulated by the MS4. Lower left is a photograph of the duck pond at Hamilton Park. These are the most aggressive geese that I've ever met. They want me to feed them whenever I stop by, so they chase after you. And then the lower right is a photograph from a park in Wolcott, and you'll never see again a photograph in a PowerPoint presentation where the circle is around pet waste. This might be the only time. But I wanted to make sure that was visible. So, these are things that we feel like are starting to emerge as potential sources of bacteria and things that could be highlights of this watershed-based plan. Not to say that all of our development, our parking lots, and our houses are not also concerns, but these are things that we're seeing here on the slide, and I want to make sure we're focusing on as we go forward. This is also really interesting to us, those of us who kind of have a hydrology or engineering background, really get into this stuff. So, StreamStats, which is the USGS program for delineating watersheds, is used as a first cut to delineate subwatersheds that we'll use for analysis in the pollutant load estimation. And so on the right-hand side in that map of the watershed of the Mad River, the red lines are showing the StreamStats delineations. And then the black lines, which are in many cases on top of the red lines, are the revised subwatershed delineations. And so the inset map is a close-up of DOT drainage, which is the blue line in the blue icons along Route 69. And then again, the red is the StreamStats delineation of subwatersheds, and then the black is our revised delineation. So you can see there's a portion of Route 69 where the DOT stormwater is picking up water from one subwatershed, it's crossing another subwatershed, and then it outlets into a third subwatershed. So what we do with the black line is we revise that subwatershed to include modifications from storm drainage systems. So there's really 2 points here. One is that, as I noted, this system is regulated by the MS4 under that permit, are not directly in our purview, but in reality they are. If stormwater from the northern subwatershed is being let out into the subwatershed further down in the inset map, we need to know that in our pollutant load estimator for this plan. So thought that was kind of cool. We don't always think about drainage systems as modifying watershed boundaries, but they do. And then you can see, I was picking on DOT, but some of the town maintained stormwater systems, which are the pink lines, have led to modifications in the subwatersheds on the right side of that inset map. So really glad everybody has their stormwater mapped. This was not the case 20 years ago. And now we have the information and the technology to make these adjustments. So we're at the end. Any comments or questions not yet come up? Please let us know. If not, we can move into the next steps. Okay. So sampling will be next week on Monday and Tuesday, as Victoria noted. The goal right now is for Monday to be the river and stream locations, and Tuesday to be the lakes and the lake outlets. So we will be visible at the causeway, getting water samples on Hitchcock Lake next Tuesday, unless the weather changes. If we have severe weather, we would change the date, but right now that does not seem to be the case. So you may see us, we may be more visible than we've been so far. Continue sending us information that you have, and some of you have done that already. And then send us photographs. If you see anything as you're out over the course of your day this spring that looks interesting, send it over to us. You all know that with Watershed Recon, we're not going to catch everything. It's random snapshots in time. So if you see something, let us know. Send us the photograph, and we can make it part of the existing conditions report. Christine, did you want to add anything?
No, I guess I'll just say that thanks for hanging in there with us, our friends in Bristol, because I know we haven't started the lake sampling yet, which is really our key thing for Bristol, right? Is that is Cedar Lake. So we should be having those next time, those results. But if no one has anything further, if there's any questions about what was presented today, we'll open the floor quick for that. Okay, well,
now will this meeting, I'm sorry, will this meeting be recorded and made available?
So I think what we have done in the past with these is we record them, but then we just send that to David for doing the notes. So we don't post these publicly, but if you needed it for any reason, we'd be happy to send it to you.
Yeah, if you can forward that to me, I appreciate it.
Sure, and the slides will get sent out to everyone as well when we follow up with the minutes.
Okay.
Do you have a date for the testing of Cedar Lake?
We do. The first time we're going to be at Cedar Lake is Tuesday next week. So Victoria, is that a week from day it must be.
Yeah, 28th. Yep. A week from today.
Okay, in the morning or afternoon? You have any idea?
Probably morning. I think I've been heading out about 8:30. So Cedar Lake will probably actually be my first stop because I've been kind of going, starting at the north and working my way down. So I'm gonna say, yeah, probably early morning, 9:30 or so.
Okay, maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah, sampling hasn't, just as a reference, kind of collecting and gathering the samples doesn't take too long. So I've only been at each site about 15, maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
So it's a short window.
Can
I
you guys
mean,
agree on a time maybe
I
and do a
was
quick
I was
intro?
just gonna say, if there's we can always touch base offline. If you wanted to try to, I could plan my route and let you know exactly how many minutes it takes me to get there and whatnot. And we could try to set up the time when I'm gonna get up there, just so you have a better idea, if that works.
Sure, I'm available all morning.
Okay, yeah, I'll send you a note. That's Mike Guerrero, right? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
thank you.
Yeah, I'll send you a note offline just to give you a better idea of what time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey,
Okay.
Christine.
Yeah, what's up?
Roy Kavanaugh, just want to let you know I have a meeting with the Bully Manor Neighborhood Association, which is the local neighborhood association for that area of Waterbury, on Thursday, May 14th at Chase, related to some Mad River improvements, and I'd be happy to present some info on this project to them, or if somebody else wants to attend with me to give a short presentation to the neighborhood.
Yeah, Roy, that's awesome. I'll follow up with you on that. And also you can please feel free, any neighborhood groups, you can invite them to these steering committee meetings, just forward. And that goes for everyone on here. If you know of, some of you may know because you got invited a little late and may have missed the first meeting. We're trying to gather anyone who may be interested in this. If you can think of any clubs, associations, groups, committees, please invite them. Okay. If that's everything, thank you so much, everybody. We are looking forward to seeing you again in the summer when hopefully it's not 30 degrees out. That would be July 21st. And until then, I hope everyone has a wonderful spring and summer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
You.